And today we're going to hear from Catholic Charities. Anna Lindler and she. Helene Desai?
Yes.
Close, huh?
Yeah.
Hang right here.
It was good. Yeah.
All right, going to talk to us. They've got a little slideshow, and then they'll follow with some presentation, and I'll walk us through Q&A. Okay? Welcome, Anna.
They have a microphone,
Yes, sir.
the two speakers.
Yes.
Yes, they're going to be mic'd up. That's how we say it. It's a cool thing.
First thing we got to do is get organized.
May 6th, I've been told there is an event here May 7th, and so we will not have a current events on the 6th of May. We do have speakers coming.
You see the green light.
Carolee, did you arrange the speakers? The 26th, right?
Cindy Stevenson, our representatives to the legislature.
Is that next week?
Elected representatives.
Right.
May 6th.
She's May 6th?
Yes.
Okay, then we're going to have, we can have it. It's just we need to,
She's May 6th.
there'll be tables. Okay, perfect. I'll tell Janice, who's right here. So we do have a speaker, the state rep.
Bob, do you need chairs up front? No?
I think we're going to sit down here when they get their show anyway. I have a thing that I plug in so that it goes to the screen. I think I need to do a better job of communicating the speakers and the content because we're half of our usual crowd. I think it's largely because I failed to put it on the bulletin board or something, or it's just been 2 weeks since we've had a meeting. Why don't we start by talking a little bit about the general issue of refugees, immigrants, migrants, asylum seekers. We've talked about that before. Can anybody just describe the difference between refugees and asylum seekers? Carol?
Refugees.
Wait a minute, Carol. Back into our routine.
Refugees have gone through the United Nations and made the applications, and oftentimes they wait a good long time.
They do.
And
Excellent.
then asylum seekers are those who say they're in terrible danger due to, I don't know, war or whatever, and asked to be let in based on that. And it's much quicker, but...
Well, it's exactly right. Refugees actually are also asylum seekers who've gone through the process and are now qualified.
And we're much better, we treat the refugees much better than we do the asylum seekers.
In part because asylum seekers can simply show up. And when they come to the border and say, I'm an asylum seeker, by international agreement, we're meant to let them in until they prove their case of needing legitimate asylum. Refugees have gone through that process before they get here. What about migrants as a concept, as opposed to asylum seekers or refugees? Most of the people who come into the country are neither asylum seekers nor refugees. There are very few refugees. In fact, I think we agreed at one point to Trump had us down to 15,000 refugees. Biden increased that, I think, to 65,000 first, and maybe there's been a second increase. But still, relatively speaking, that's a small number. Migrants are simply people who come here, they include refugees and asylum seekers, but come here to improve their economic situation. Carol?
What do they go call the Ukrainians that amount, the 100,000?
Well, 100,000 Ukrainians will be accepted as refugees, as I understand it, and maybe the Catholic Charities people can clarify that. If that's the case, though, I assume they're going to have to go through a vetting process in Germany or Poland or wherever they are temporarily right now. That's an interesting question. When we say 100,000 Ukrainians, is that on top of the 100,000 or 65,000 that had otherwise been? I don't know the answer. Does anyone? But it's interesting to me how relatively few refugees there are and asylum seekers. I would have assumed many more given the problems around the world. 4 million people have left Ukraine, and only 100,000 are going to be permitted here outward. Does Germany just absorb that additional population? Or does Poland, exactly. And Krakow, for example, I think their population is more than doubled with Ukrainian refugees. Sally Ann and I spent a good deal of time in Krakow when we were working in Poland years ago. And I have to tell you, it's a fabulous town, but it doesn't have accommodation for a doubling of its population. It's really an interesting challenge. How are we doing on that computer?
We're getting there.
It's just like I can't find where is the USB. I have to log into my account online to get the presentation.
Uh-huh.
Sorry.
Any questions that we can anticipate before we hear what they're going to say, or do we have to hear what they're going to say first? Do you have a question?
I do. Security is holding.
Carol again? Wait, Don has a comment first, and then we go to Carol, or then go to Bill and Carol.
Okay. Okay. No, I was just curious when they come up. They're local, of course. How are they associated at all with Catholic Charities at the southern border?
Catholic Charities is the Catholic Church organization for doing good works internationally. And there is a Catholic Charities, I think the headquarters, if I'm not mistaken, at least at one time, the headquarters were in Annapolis. I don't know, maybe in Washington now, I don't know. Every time you hear Catholic Charities talked about, that, whether it's refugee resettlements or providing food and housing internationally, it's a wide variety of services, just like Lutheran Social Services, for those of you who are Lutheran. And I don't know if Presbyterians have a similar organization. I don't know. But I do believe that the different faiths cooperate. I remember coming back one day from the Dominican Republic, and we did Palms hosted a food packing process where we packaged we had sacks of grains, put them into boxes, and the boxes were then put in little plastic bags. Each plastic bag became a meal, and there were Presbyterians, Catholics, Lutherans, and I don't know whatever else. But it was an amazing, we did 120,000 meals in one Saturday. It was all, I think, very good stuff to do.
Got it.
She's standing up, that's progress. Carol?
I just wanted to ask a question. Thinking about migrants and refugees and asylum seekers, so many of them coming across, the southern border are migrants, which I think of as workers.
Many, in fact, I think most are migrants,
Okay,
simply
but
seeking
why
an
are
economic.
they coming across as families rather than just people, the single people who won't work?
Well, people who come in to work individually as opposed to with their families, I think are almost like day workers. Or primarily, I think, men who come across and do construction jobs. I think that they bring a family, they intend to stay here longer. But let's,
Because I think of migrants as those that come, and they come north and then they go back south.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a little different when you've got a whole family.
exactly. That's a good question to ask our speakers. Are we about ready, guys? Dynamite.
Wonder Woman. Good morning, everybody. My name is Speaker.
Yeah, I think I'm good now. My name is Hilaine Muzai. I work with Catholic Charities as an RMP and Matron Program Manager. RMP is one of our program, which stands for Reception and Placement, and Matching Grant Program is one of our employment program. So today I'm going to give you sorry. So today I'm going to give you an overall overview of what we are doing at Catholic Charities. Anna?
That's why I couldn't say.
One more? Okay. First, we're going to start that who do we serve? So we serve refugees, asylees, Cuban and Haitians, parolees, and victims of human trafficking, and also asylees. And status is assigned based on location of application, where they apply and how do they fill their refugee application. So refugees are the ones that their life is in danger and they cannot live in their country anymore, and they go to UNHCR and they apply for a refugee status to go to any country, not only United States, to go to any country as a refugee. Asylees they travel, they come to United States because their life is in danger and they cannot go back to their country. So then they can apply for asylum. Parolees are assigned, so here, before we had only parolees for Cuban and Haitians, now we have parolees for people from Afghanistan, and also now people coming from Ukraine. So I'm going to give Anna next, please.
Can I just ask a quick question, if I may?
Sure.
Are parolees, is that a term reserved for a
Temporary
particular act?
stay.
But is there a congressional act or an action taken by the State Department to say this country can send people to the United States as parolees?
Parolees, yes. It's only assigned for people from a certain countries that if there is a war there and their life is in danger. For example, right now, Ukraine, there is a war there, and now on April 19, the United States government announced that Ukrainian can apply for TPS, which is temporary stay, which is temporary parole stay. That is for Ukrainian. And also we had the parole approved for people from Afghanistan. In August 15, the Afghanistan government collapsed, and the United States approved people from Afghanistan that they can stay in the United States as parolees for 2 years. So we received 200 families from Afghanistan from August 15 with parolee status. Why United States government gave them or awarded them with this status? Because this is only for those people that they were helping United States government in Afghanistan. They were helping United States mission in Afghanistan. The people that came from Afghanistan, they are all those individuals that were working with U.S. Embassy in Afghanistan, they were working with U.S. Army in Afghanistan, they were working with different projects. And because their life was in danger, Taliban, whomever we say, Daesh, they would kill them if they find out that they were helping the United States government. So that's why United States government evacuate all their employees from Afghanistan after the Afghanistan government collapse. And for Ukraine, it's a different situation. People from Afghanistan that they arrived from August 15, they are receiving reception and placement. The United States government assigned a special program for them, which is EPA, means Afghan Parole Assistance Program. But because they were kind of thinking that, kind of feeling guilty or whatever to help these people, but for Ukraine it's a different situation. They have now designed a special program for Ukrainian yet. I'm sure you have seen in the news that Biden has approved 100,000 refugees from Ukraine, but they have to come through the normal refugee process. They have to complete all those paperwork, all those documentation, wherever they are. If they are in Poland, if they are in Moldova, if they are wherever they are right now, they have to complete all those paperwork. They have to complete the background check. They have to complete the security check. They have to complete the health screening, and then they will be allowed to come to United States. Which normally completing those completing those paperwork normally takes a year to 5 years or to 10 years. So hopefully this time for Ukrainian they expedite the process, but and I'm sure they will, but as a regular process completing those paperwork, we have some clients that their children were born and raised in the refugee camps. So they don't have any, they have place of birth, but they don't have any documentation because they were born in a refugee camp. Right now with our reception and placement program, we serve refugees, which they come, as I said, with the proper documentation, and we don't have any program assigned right now at Catholic Charities for those refugees that they come without any proper documentation. And EPA, which is one of our other programs, that's only for Afghanis. And Match Grant, we used to serve asylees as well under our matching grant program, which is an employment program. But now we have decided, since we have too many families arriving, so we have decided to leave our slots to our own clients only, which they are refugees and parolees from Afghanistan. So, Anna? So here, as I said, refugees are forced to leave their home countries because of war, environmental disasters, political persecution, and religious their beliefs. So they have to leave their country. And lately, we had refugees from Burma, from Eritrea, from Congo, and from Ukraine and Russia. So these are, for the last 5 years, at least that I'm working with Catholic Charities, we had people from these countries. We had refugees from these countries. Anna, can you please? So so here, as I said, this is the process for refugees to complete and to apply for the refugee process. This whole process will take them, as I said, from 1 to 10 years for them to come to United States. So first, they will apply for a refugee status within a third country, not in their country. They cannot apply for refugee status if they are in their own country. They have to be in a second or third country. So, for example, Congolese, they leave their country, they go to a nearest other country, and they apply for refugee status. Soon as they apply with UNHCR, they will have to complete a lot of paperwork in order for them to get approved if they are even eligible for refugee status. And then they will be, once they are approved, they will be moved to refugee camps, and at refugee camps they will complete all those security, I don't know what happened to this. Okay, they will complete all those security, background checks, health screening. Sometimes it will take them 2 years, just because even if they have simple disease, or they will not be able to travel to United States until they are not cured, until they are not clear. So sometimes, especially the employees that are working with me, they're like, are we safe to go to airport to pick up this family? Are they healthy? I don't wanna, because they've been living in refugee camps, I don't wanna transfer any disease to my family. So we have to, overall, for our new employees, we have to give them trainings, and we have to give them ongoing trainings that no, these people are clear, these people are healthy, that they're coming to United States. So this whole, and once they are clear, they will be sent to IOM, which IOM is responsible for organizing and choosing which country is accepting refugees at this time, and if it is United States, if they have any family member here at United States, they will be sent to that exact state. If someone has family in Virginia, that refugee family will be sent to Virginia. If someone has families here in Jacksonville, they will be in Florida, they will be sent to Florida. So most of our family, I would say 80% of our families, doesn't matter if they are parolees or refugees, they follow the same procedure. They have, we call it US ties. They have families, relatives here in the United States. Why they do that? Because besides the resettlement agencies, we get some help from their families. For example, when they come, if we don't have an apartment or if we don't have a house for them, so we let them to live with their families temporarily until we can find an apartment or a house for them, and then we furnish it, and then they can move to their own apartment. So sometimes people have this, I know I've been to a lot of workshops, presentations. Sometimes they think that when refugees come here, they will be like forever, they will be on government assistance programs, or they will be forever receiving medical assistance, or no, that's not true. For sure, for the first 6 months, they are receiving food stamp, they are receiving Medicaid, but after the 6 months, they are not eligible anymore for Medicaid, same as everybody else. And everybody, especially with our program, with our agency, nobody said, at least I can just prove that from the last 5 years, everybody in our cases has become self-sufficient with their first 3 months of their arrival. We have found them jobs. I have families from 3-4 years ago. They have bought houses. They have opened their own businesses. They work night and day. I swear. Like most of these families, they have 4 children. They have 4 children. So during the day, they go to work, older than 18. And part-time at night, they go to school, like family. I have a lot of success stories. So if you go to our website, you can read some of those success stories. So quarterly, we are also required to report our headquarter office to all these success stories. So the aim of this migrant program is to make these families self-sufficient. And we've been reporting 99%, 98% self-sufficiency to our headquarter office. So as soon as they soon as they start working, they will lose food stamp, they will lose Medicaid, they will not be receiving anything. So none of these families, and we have 0% of whom none of our clients are homeless. None of them are homeless. They are all, we are in contact with our clients like from 5 years ago, or even clients like from 2017, 16, they come to our office. Some of the old former clients, they are donating now to our office. They are coming, they are sending checks, they want to help, like, because they've been in their shoes, they know, like, how does it feel to be a new, to come to the United States with no money, so they know that they now donate to our program as well. So the other part, which is immigrants are generally come to the United States for one of these two reasons. One, they are joining a family member who is already in the United States. The second is economic immigrants, which they are seeking for work and better life. Immigrants, they getting approval or getting a visa as an immigrant, it's hard. It's hard. I have families that they have families and they are waiting for their families for the last 10 years. So it's not just easy. They apply, they get to an they get visa, they come to United States. No. They are waiting for years and years, spending so much money to pay for the attorneys, to pay for the USCIS processes, to complete like a simple, if you were completing a simple form and sending it to USCIS, the minimum fees are like $500, $600, so it's not cheap. And most of the families, they have family members overseas, but they cannot file a petition for them, or they cannot ask them because they cannot afford it. So it's not easy. It takes too much effort, too much paperwork, too much documentation, and it's expensive. So UNHCR, I was using UNHCR over and over. UNHCR, it stands for the United Nations of High Commission on Refugees. That's the first step. That's where they go. If you go to Google and search for UNHCR, you can read more about them. This is the first step that refugees have to take to apply for a refugee status. And our programs are being supported by PRM and OR, or the the Reception and Placement Program is supported by PRM, which is Very Old Population of Refugees and Migration in the United States, and ORR is Office of Refugee and Resettlement. And UCIS is this, we have a UCIS office here in Jacksonville, which is located on Southside Boulevard. It stands for, it's the Office of Citizenship and Immigration Services. Normally, the USCIS office is working with everyone that's already here in the United States, and UNHCR is working with refugees or individuals that are outside of the United States. Okay, so here in Jacksonville, there are two resettlement agencies right now. One is Catholic Charities, which is us. The other one is Lutheran Social Services. And Catholic Charities, we are working with USCCB, which is U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, Migration and Refugee Services. So we get our families, or we get our arrivals through USCCB. So as I said, right now we have 4 programs at Catholic Charities that's designed for refugees. The first program is Reception and Placement. The second program is the Matching Grant Program, which is the Employment Program and Self-Sufficiency Program. The third program, which is a newly designed program. This program was newly designed for Afghanis in September 2021, which is Afghan Parolee Assistance Program, EPA. and ESOL program, which is Adult English for Speakers of Other Languages. This is one of our other programs which when refugees they come, they have to be, one of the requirements of all of these programs, they have to go to ESOL classes regularly to learn the language. So mostly they're working during the day. We have night time classes as well, so if they work during the day, at night time they go to their ESOL classes. So within the reception and placement program, as I said, we get our arrivals through USCCB, and we provide core services to our refugees and SIVs. SIV stands for, we used to have only SIV for Afghanis, which stands for Special Immigrant Visa Holders. Only for, and this visa was designed only for those individuals that was supporting or helping U.S. mission in Afghanistan. So, but since everything changed in August with Afghanistan, then they designed this other program, EPA, for them as well. So we provide them with pre and post arrival services and also case management for only 90 days. So we are helping them for 90 days, and then they should be good to do everything on their own. Then we have other service providers here. One is LSS, one is Beyond 90. We get a lot of help from them. So after their 90 days, if they still need help, we refer them to Beyond 90 and other programs that can help them until, but most of the refugees, they are not eligible for anything or for any of these services, even if it's a consultation after their 5 years being in the United States. Anna? So with the pre-arrival, we receive a notification from USCCB that a family of 6 is coming in a week or in 2 weeks. So what we do, we have relationship with different property managers, landlords, real estate agents, so we contact them, hey, a family of 6 is coming, do you have a 2-bedroom or do you have a 3-bedroom? Then we find a house for them, we furnish the house, we collect furniture and household goods from the community, and we have a warehouse where we store them, and when the families come, we furnish their apartments using those furniture and using those household goods. And we go to airport, we pick up the family, we take them to their home, we provide them with food, and then we have cultural orientation classes. We, beside our ESOL classes, we teach them the life here in the United States. What are the rules, what are the regulations, what is prohibited, and we have 15 topics, like important topics, how the health system works here, how the transportation works here, all that. So we make sure by the 90 days they are ready to go. And we also help them with their completing their doctor appointments, health screenings, school enrollment, completing their legal documents if they need. Like for right now, for our Afghan parolees, we have an immigration office as well. We help them to complete their asylum application, which is great. So we are so fortunate that our immigration office, they accepted to help us with that process. So Anna? So as I said, that these are the topics for our cultural orientation classes, which is U.S. laws, public transportation, public benefits, cultural adjustment, daily living skills, healthcare, security and safety, employment, banking, money management. I had a client in 2019. It's a success story. So he was from Ukraine. He had a lot of these clients are coming with a lot of skills. So in like 3 months, I asked him because his report was due. I was like, hey, Kovarov, like, can you send me your pay stubs, please? Because I have to send the report. Like, we found them at first a job, and then help of his family, he opened his own business. He was like, hey, Hila, I'm not working at that job anymore. I'm self-employed. I'm like, okay, great. So at least do you have a pay stub? He was like, I don't have pay stubs. My clients are paying me through my account. So, and he sent me his business information and all that. And then he sent me his, he had flooring business. Flooring and, what do you call it? Like, a Steco, yes, Steco business and flooring business. He opened his own business with the help of his brothers here. And he made like $21,000 in 1 month. I was like, do you need an assistant? I'm coming. So, because he was working day and night, getting on those projects, he sent me the list of his projects. So, he was working day and night to make money to have a stable life here in the United States. And I was so proud, and he made me to write a story about him, like to publish his story, and I was like, this is great, like, so, and he provide employment here to the other people now. He has an agent, he has like an office, like 10 people are working in his office. He's not taking jobs. On the side of that, he's providing jobs. So that was a good success story. Anna? So I think I already mentioned that since 2019, we have arrivals from Afghanistan, Ukraine, Congo, Burma, Russia, Iraq, and Eritrea. And since in 2019, we received 32 families, 26 individuals in 2020, 21 families, 68 individuals, and same as migrant, 30 families in 2019, and in 2020, 13 families, which is the opposite. This year we were really busy. We have currently, right now, we have 200 families enrolled in the migrant program, and we have, for this fiscal year, we have received 58 families for our refugee program, which is reception and placement. I think I already gave information about our migrant program, which is an employment program, and the aim of the program is to make the families make them become self-sufficient as soon as possible. And the caseworkers we have relationship with different employers, with different business owners that. Whenever we receive a family, we refer them to different employers based on their skills and their education and based on their resume. And migrant service, they are with the migrant service for 240 days. It used to be 180 days, but recently it was changed to 240 days. We make them self-sufficient within the 3 months of their arrival, but until 240 days, these families are under our observation to make sure they're doing good at their job, they don't need any training, and if they need any kind of training, anything, we still help them to provide them with those kind of trainings. Anna? TCM, we used to have this program, but now this program is LSS. They have this is one of their program. It's tier case management. If after their services are closed with us, if they still need more services, or like for example, if we have elderlies and they need more help and they don't have any family members, then they are the only ones that are eligible for this program. They get help with their doctor appointments, or if they need social security appointment for their SSIs and they need follow-up with that. So that program is like normally designed for them. Anna? So ESOL, I think I already gave some information about our ESOL program. We have classes at Catholic Charities if they are level 1 to level 400. But if they pass, when they newly arrive, they are tested at Catholic Charities to find out their English level, and if they are tested level 4 or up, they will be referred to FSCJ for the state college for English classes. This is our website. Please visit our website. We have volunteer opportunities, and we always need furnitures. We need household goods, and we have a warehouse at downtown Catholic Charities refugee warehouse. We are open. The warehouse. Somebody is there at the warehouse on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 9 to 2. So if anybody wants to deliver like household goods, blankets, towels, anything, they can just ring the door and somebody will collect that, and then we will give them a donation acknowledgement form. And we always need volunteers, we always need help. Thank you, and I'm open for any questions. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Don?
The question, I may have missed it, but did you say anything about education other than ESOL?
Hey.
Yes. So we have our ESOL program for children 5 to 18. They will be enrolled in the dual county schools as everybody else, but everybody else 18 older, they will be referred to our ESOL program, and they will be tested by our ESOL department. If they pass, we have 8 levels of ESOL classes. If they pass level 1 to 400, they will go to our own classes. We have teachers, they will go to our own classes, but if they test over the level 400, they will go to FSCJ, Florida State College, to continue their English classes. And once they pass ESOL, once they are done with 8 level of ESOL classes, they will go to, they will continue if they want to go to college, if they want to continue their bachelor degree. We have a lot of students right now at FECJ, at UNF here that I know they used to be our clients.
But ESOL is just English language, right?
ESOL is just English language. That's the first step. They cannot continue their education if they don't have an ESOL certificate. They gotta have an ESOL certificate in order for them to continue their education. After even not that, after ESOL, when they have an ESOL certificate, they will have to get an EP certificate, which is 1 more year. EP, I believe it stands for English Academic Program. Like you have to study English in academic level, right? They have to study 1 more year after ESOL in order to be like really ready for the academic level. Yes, sir.
So an individual refugee or refugee family could take a number of years to come into the country.
Yes.
But immigrants can come in right away and get on a program of catch and release, whatever it's called.
You mean the ones that they're crossing the border?
Yes.
So as I said, our organization, we don't work with those refugees at all. Yes, we don't work with them at all. We work only with approved refugees. So those ones that they cross the border, I know I have hear a lot in the news, and I've been seeing a lot of news recently that they're crossing the border. Yes, most of them, they are deported again. Most of them, they are being deported again. We just hear the news that, hey, like last night, 100 of them came to the United States. But the story stops there, right? We just hear that. We don't hear again, like, what happened to these families. Those families, children are being separated from their families. They are being deported again. We work with, sometimes, actually next week we have a meeting with Department of Border and Security. So when we have our meetings with them, they gave us the numbers that how many of them are being deported. Even doesn't matter if they apply for asylum, if they don't have a good reason of persecution, they will be deported. They will be deported back to their country if they don't have. Even Afghanis, they were their life is in danger there. The United States government evacuated them, but still their asylum applications have been denied. When that's denied, that means they have to go to court, and if they cannot prove that their life is really in danger, they will be deported. It's not that they will come and they will stay and they will have a good life here and they will enjoy. Yes, ma'am.
Why does it take 10 years to get the paperwork done in these refugee camps?
I'm receiving a lot of phone calls that every day from these families that, hey, can you check on my family case? Can you check? It's just the normal procedure for UNHCR to complete all that paperwork. Sometimes, as I said, even if they have a normal disease, I have seen that their flights are canceled just because they sneeze in the flight. They're like, oh no, this person is sick, send him back. And it's not like you just go, you see a doctor and clear the paperwork, because there are too many people, everything is on a waiting list. Especially administration process, 3 years only takes for them overseas to complete that administration process. They gotta go through that process. So I have children, like from especially Eritrea. I have a family that I assured their case like 4 years ago, as a guy that's waiting for his daughter and his wife. We assured his case like, okay, Catholic Charity will help these two individuals. Like I assured the case 4 years ago, and the attorney is sending me emails every day that, do you have an update? I send an email to them like, do you have any update? They're like, wait, it's under the administration process. So I don't have any idea, like, what is the administration process overseas? It's the only word they gave us, like, administration process. Yeah. And the only word I give back to husband, I'm like, sorry, it's still under administration process. Yeah.
That's extremely sad, that the good people can't come in, and yet we spend our lives seeing in the news the bad people that come in and seem to get away with everything. And in the case of Ukraine, I was sort of hoping that today you would say this is opening up, we're going to take 100,000 people, and Ukrainians will be coming. I was sort of hoping they might come to work here at where we live in our community. We would welcome people that were qualified, but knowing that we won't even be here in 10 years to welcome them. It's a very long process.
You're gonna be here.
Depressing red tape.
Yeah. So this is actually on last 2 weeks. It was. Oh my gosh, it's changing every day. Yeah.
It's a very fluid situation. So just yesterday we were updated that okay, we're making it a little bit. It's closer. We're making progress, and it's closer and similar to the Afghans and what we did with them. However, we haven't made it there yet. But it is changing daily. We could be notified Monday that, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
We have assured 35 Ukrainians already. So we're just kind of waiting to see where they are, when they're coming in. And we're here. We're ready to process, ready to move. We've got our warehouse open. We've been collecting numerous items for them when they do arrive. And we've been assisting across the country, trying to get everybody on the same page.
Question, are there organizations doing the same thing you are that are not necessarily affiliated with churches?
Oh, yes, I'm sure they are. We are just Catholic Charities and Lutheran are working together. We keep that information steadily flowing because we know that any time now it could change.
But I think, and the short answer is no, that the only refugee resettlement programs are social services.
Correct. We are the only ones in Jacksonville.
What about in New York City? Are there other?
Yes, there are. Through our organization, USCCB, there are 9 organizations under the Catholic bishops, but there are other organizations like through Lutheran and across the country.
Just if 3 to 4 years from now, whatever it may be, some of these immigrants like coming from Ukraine or Afghanistan want to go home, will they be able to?
I don't think they want to go home, but if they have the proper paperwork, if they have completed all those paperwork, especially green card, they can go back to their home. But if they don't have a green card, which and that means if they go back, they will not be able to come back. If with the so right now, no one is allowed to travel to Afghanistan. If you go to online and you want to book a ticket to Afghanistan, there is like a warning from the U.S. government that you are not allowed to go to Afghanistan. But if these families, anyways, they want to go back, they will not be allowed to come back because they don't have a green card and they will not be, they will be considered someone with no paperwork. And from Afghanistan, there is no way that they cross the border or anything like that.
So these people are the ones that survive this process, which is really complicated, more than I would think. Even in the case of a war, these people are exceptional. I mean, they have to be. They have to quickly get to work. They have to quickly make money. They have to quickly learn English. They have to quickly, become productive in order to even afford the lawyer who's going to help them go through this process, correct?
True. As I said, we've been lucky with our own immigration office that we, from the funds that we collected from the community, we were able to hire one more employee for our immigration office. At least few of these families that were settled by our agency, they will receive help with completing their paperwork through our own organization. But yeah, those other individuals, they have to find an immigration attorney, they have to pay all those legal fees in order for them to complete all that paperwork.
I have a question.
Sorry.
Where?
Right
here.
Here, behind you.
Okay.
I noticed you have Burma. Why are you not saying Myanmar?
Because they, from Myanmar, they send to different other countries like Malaysia. So Burma, because most of the people that are coming to us are from Burma.
But that's not the name of the country anymore.
What is the name of, what do you say?
Myanmar.
Oh, that's the capital of Burma. That's what I know. I don't know if that's changed.
No.
No, okay, so
I've been there.
when we received the documentation, in our documentation, in our paperwork, it says a family is coming from Burma. And we call it Burmese families.
Yes.
Yeah,
Even
even
if it's
still.
been changed.
Yeah, even if it's changed, we
Even
receive
though
it
it's
from
been
Burma,
changed,
like
it's
Burmese
Burma.
families.
I think this
Yes.
is like Kyiv and Kiev.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
Don's got a question for yourself. Ken, I keep saying Don. Bruce.
I guess I have two questions. Number one, you haven't mentioned the Palestinian refugees. The Catholic Charities doesn't deal with Palestinian refugees?
Palestinians, we haven't received any Palestinian refugees yet.
Is that right?
Yes, we haven't.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when you say you're dealing with the refugees and the programs you've mentioned, that's only this office of Catholic Charities. On the southern border, isn't Catholic Charities also dealing with the immigrants?
No,
No.
I know, yes. Catholic Charities only, I know that for sure we are working with refugees and most of the people are not eligible for any of our programs. If they don't, we have eligibility categories. If they don't fit there, they are not eligible for our programs and they don't receive assistance from our program.
Right here.
No, sorry.
A question, I had understood that when the migrants are, what do you call them?
Immigrants?
Asylees.
Asylees?
The asylees, when they come in, they are assigned a court date.
Yes.
And oftentimes that, because the courts are so jam-packed, they can go for like 2 years or more before they get their court date. So the deportations aren't as quick as what you make it sound like, is my understanding. But sometimes they don't ever appear for their court date. Because, and then on the border, the ones that are migrants know that they can get in faster if they go into the asylum or asylee line, because they can be say, okay, you have a court date, you know, hither and yon, and they go and off they go. And I think that apparently is one of the problems.
So, as I know, if they don't appear for their court date, automatically a decision will be made that they will be deported if they miss for the second time. Sorry? Yes. I mean, they are, even if they are here, they're not eligible for anything, they are not receiving anything. Finally, they will be, at the end of the day, they will be deported. If you don't have proper documentation, they will be deported.
If a private group decides to sponsor someone to come here from Ukraine, do they still have to go through this process? From what I understand, your charity deals just with the people who come through government approved relations, right?
Sure.
So if a private group, because I happen to know of one, wants to bring somebody here who has family here, do they still have to go through this convoluted process?
For Ukraine?
From Ukraine?
We have received a notice actually about this yesterday. So that they are creating Unite Ukraine, the program name? Yeah. So there has been a newly program released. We don't have so much information about it yet. That I have read, actually this morning I was reading about it, all those notices that we received from USCCB yesterday, that new updates, that if a private group wants to sponsor a family, they can. But I don't have more information for you because the only information they shared with us, they were like more to come, more to follow. So yes, definitely follow our website. If we have any, once it's confirmed, once it's like a regular process, we will be announcing in our website.
And we will be leaving some information, so if you have any other questions, you can call us directly. And we can, as we find out information, we'll let you know.
Yes. So we were so happy actually. We were like, like something is coming up on our way.
I don't know how many of you have ever, or hear me, have tried to employ somebody from a foreign country. But we did that many times in our company. We had to have an immigration lawyer, more or less working with us full time. And he would process the applications for Indians and Pakistanis, in our case, to get work permits, essentially started with work permits, then green cards, to be able to work for us. And it's a convoluted process. We had to provide certain financial assistance to them, a guarantee of the job, I think housing and other...
Actually, my husband is working with one of the immigration officers that they are doing that. So just because we need, especially it's more for technology needs, IT individuals, because United States needs more ITs. So they are coming from...
But that's a totally different thing.
Different. They're staying temporary, like for a year or 2 years, they finish the project, they go back. It's not like, and then they cannot apply for asylum or anything because they have to go back. It's a formal project, they're here to finish that, they provide the services and they go back. There is nothing for them to, like, hey, my life is in danger because no one's like...
Unless you decide to go through the process of getting a green card and becoming everybody. I think there are a couple of numbers that I don't have, I see it's 11 o'clock, I don't have a good feel for. There is a number, I don't know what it is, of new individuals who are in the United States. They may or may not have sought asylum, but they've come across the border, either at a crossing or at a non-crossing, whether the number is 100,000, 170,000, the numbers of refugees that we handle are de minimis when you compare that with the news about all the people coming across the border. Well, I think there is a vast number that come across and are immediately deported. There must also be a very large number that come across and work here, because we do have thousands of jobs that are needed and that need to be filled, and the only source of employees are immigrants.
Immigrants, yeah,
And
because
I'm
they
not
pay them
really
less.
sure how many employers are concerned whether they're legal or not. They just need employees.
With employers that we work, if they don't have a social security, if they don't have an employment authorization card, they don't hire them.
I'm certain that's done, that's true.
Yeah.
And I suspect Vickers probably doesn't hire anybody who doesn't have all the right paperwork. But I can tell you we did hire a lot of people.
Okay.
that-
Okay.
Because we just needed to fill jobs.
We have more questions, just a second.
I don't know, do you want to end this, or I can add something?
Yes.
I brought an individual from Jamaica with me for her to get her permanent working card. She was going to take care of my mother. It took 4 years. I had to hire an attorney. It took $5,000. She could not go back to Jamaica to visit her family any of that time because, as you said, if she went back, she couldn't get back in.
Yes.
I brought her on a temporary visa, and then she stayed with me, of course, and took care of my mother. I had to advertise in the newspaper for other people in case she was taking a job away from an American, etc. And I knew how difficult it was to get this permanent visa, this green card, that then she could stay here and work. And it took a long time, and even at the end of this, she had to go back to Jamaica and go to the consulate there to be approved. So it was scary, the whole thing. And it's always been that way.
And it's still the same way still. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
And we'll learn more. My good friend Don, if you want to confusion. I don't know if there, this whole issue is one we may want to explore more with another presentation, maybe from either Lutherans, although I think they're going to say the same thing as Catholic Charities. I'm curious to know maybe something from our immigration service, if there's an office here.
I just want to say that was a really wonderful presentation. I think your enthusiasm for what you're doing is remarkable and wonderful. And I know you do this because you're Catholic, not because they are. So you're doing this to take care of humans on the planet. But I also know that there is a lot of, in all of our conversations, a lot of discussion about those ones that get in and are evil and bad and bringing drugs and raping women and blah, blah, blah. Fear seems to always dominate in our thinking. And fear rises above the facts we've just heard today. I hope we can leave today with some knowledge of the good that's being done and the good people that are being brought in and the good people who are going to take 10 years to get here. I mean, it's really extraordinary.
Thank you all.